J.K. Rowling be trolling. The story we're gonna talk about today is probably the funniest one we can close this year with, and it brought new life to a really old meme. Before we begin, make sure to drop a like on this video, guys. It's a 1 second thing for you, but for the channel it helps a lot in terms of ranking and getting our anti-SJW message out there. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our newest videos. Today's story feels like something you would read on The Onion, and when I first ran into the headline on Twitter, I thought it was satire. When most people ask me about my YouTube channel and what do, I find it very hard to explain SJWs to normal people who have never heard about them. A lot of it because of how ridiculous most SJWs are by nature and how contradictory and obviously hypocritical their ideology is. Most people don't dabble in gender studies or intersectionalism, so it seems ridiculous to them. When I began my journey into the SJW world, I couldn't help but notice the irony right away. Most of it is pretty obvious, like I said. It's not some form of clever satire either, where you have to use some brain power. It usually kicks you in the face right away, which is why I feel like in the last 5 years, since the beginning of 2015, the left has been on a deep undercover troll up. That's the only reasonable and charitable way to interpret this crazy bend they've been on lately. Most of what happens today you can see on satirical bits from Monty Python and places like The Onion, where old articles reflect our current political climate pretty accurately. So my top conspiracy theory that I believe is that comedy is still alive and well on the leftist side because most of them are trolling while not actually believing all those ridiculous things. And I'm somewhat right if you consider grifters as part of the equation, which are a part of both sides on the political spectrum. This preamble was super important for this story because the best writer out there could not make such satirical piece. Would Lord Voldemort have voted for Brexit? J.K. Rowling reveals Harry Potter's nemesis is a nationalist and says novels deal with racism. J.K. Rowling has described wizard villain Lord Voldemort as a nationalist and says her Harry Potter books deal with racism. Now, I only watched The Philosopher's Stone as far as Harry Potter goes, and it's only because I got it as a VCR tape gift for graduating the first grade, which was approximately 18 years ago. So I can't testify if the films or the books deal with racism. At least not as far as I remember it, and recalling how J.K. Rowling tried to retcon Hermione as a black character even though she is described as white in the books, I don't think she had any racism themes in the book, and it's just her virtue signaling, just like when she retconned Dumbledore to be gay. Appearing on the Christmas special of Radio 4's The Museum of Curiosity, she also said she has repeatedly refused to work with the government on literacy initiatives because she does not want pupils to be forced to read her books. This is actually a good thing because even though she is a preachy author, unlike her leftist friends, she doesn't want it shoved down people's throat, which I honestly appreciate. She told the program, which airs this evening at 6:15 p.m., I have a half-written children's book where I'm going back into a completely invented world that I've sort of got half finished. When asked about studies which had found those who read her Potter books had more empathy and tolerance, the 54-year-old replied, obviously those themes are deeply embedded within the books. Ideas of being different, racism is obviously there in allegorical form, as totalitarianism is there because Voldemort is obviously an authoritarian. I wouldn't say he's a populist, but he's kind of a nationalist. So the Brexit thing was something that the Daily Mail added, and she was just saying that Voldemort was authoritarian, which is not exclusive to either side of the political spectrum, but is mostly shown nowadays on the left. She said he is not a populist, but Brexit is a populist position and it overwhelmingly won the election in the UK solely on that, so I don't know if he would actually vote for Brexit if he's not a populist. She only said he was a nationalist, which is a weird stretch when you talk about a magical realm fantasy story where there are no specific nations with borders, I guess. I haven't read the books or the movies like I've said. If you read the first paragraph, you understand that her statement is her grifting and trolling to get some hype and publicity for the new book she is writing. She relies on our rage clicks to get the word of her book out there, and sadly she didn't get it yet because I haven't seen this story reported on YouTube yet, but mostly on Twitter. This is my most charitable interpretation, and that's what I'm going with. It's either that or she's a complete whackjob left-wing nut, and if you recall her recent controversy with the LMNOP brigade, she's probably signaling to her base that she is still with them. That's all for today, guys. If you watch the movies and read the books, I'd appreciate if you comment on the book actually dealing with racism, or is it just another Hermione is black situation. Thank you J.K. Rowling for reviving one of the funniest memes, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.